So this is not only the week of Earth Day, but a particularly important Earth Day. And for that reason, we at TYT have put together a special for our members where I have talked with any number of different environmental activists and authors, scientists, reporters, and really try to find out what all of these different groups think about the state of our environment and our climate today, particularly under these lockdown conditions, and the likelihood that anything good in that area is going to come over the next 6 months or a year, particularly considering how the Democratic primary has proceeded. So all of that will be available starting on Earth Day. But to give you a taste of the sort of conversations we're having, I'm very excited to welcome to the show our next guest, the founder, co-executive director, and art director of 0 Hour, Nadia Nazar. Welcome to the Damage Report.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Very glad to have you here. And I'm curious, obviously your life has been changed drastically because of what's happened in terms of this quarantine, but the organization is also being affected. So how are you and the group adapting to these changing circumstances?
Yeah, I think it's been harder, like personally, with everything because as an organization, we've always been organizing online through Zoom calls, through emails, through Slack. Like that's been normal to us. So organizing online hasn't been that different, but our actions have had to be changed. We were organizing with other organizations in a coalition working to do this massive 3-day action for this week physically in so many different cities all across the country for the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, but we can't do that anymore. So we're doing a live stream now with the coalition that we're a part of. So, and we're doing a digital campaign as well called Getting to the Roots. So we haven't been able to do like physical mobilizations or getting our ambassadors and volunteer base to go out to their communities and do our campaign. But we have been able to still engage communities online.
I had been wondering that because we had Jamie Margolin on a few months ago, and she had been talking about that you were about to launch this nationwide tour. The timing was somewhat unfortunate. But I'm curious.
Yeah.
So as you said, you have experience, history of digital organization and communication. Are you finding that with so many other people, young people who are interested in the climate, also locked down, are many of them sort of taking this opportunity to get involved, perhaps digitally with organizations like yours?
I think that it's been a little hard because I think everyone's kind of going through like an emotional time. Like it is a hard time that we're going through, like seeing all the devastation happening and all the people that are suffering and dying because of COVID-19. And it's been like really weird for a lot of young people, especially a lot of seniors who won't be able to have like the graduation or like the prom
Yeah.
and the different events that they expected. So I think it's been a little like emotionally daunting for a lot of people, but I think that people are starting to get into things now and spending more time educating themselves. We have webinars weekly now about different aspects of climate justice, and we've had good engagement with that, and a lot of young people and older people as well joining on to learn more about stuff like environmental racism, colonialism, patriarchy, and we're going to continue to keep doing those webinars.
And yeah, so I know, speaking personally, like I'm continuing to do my show, but as you alluded to, there's the personal effect of all this stuff that's going on and how it affects you. And activism can be both an inspiration to continue to stay engaged, or it can be also like another burden in some ways when you're already, you're worried about your health, the health of people
Yeah.
around you and all of that. How are you holding up so far after a couple months of this?
I've been doing okay. I'm a senior in high school, so it has been a little upsetting that I can't see my friends because we're all going to college next year. But
Yeah.
as an artist, I've been trying to get into new things, trying to do more art and kind of keep myself busy with that, as well as organizing for Earth Day Live this week and getting more people to be engaged. And it is like really kind of hopeless in the climate movement right now. Not in the climate movement, but like I personally felt a little hopeless, especially after Bernie dropped out. So
Yeah.
that was or suspended his campaign. So I was
Yes. Yes.
yeah, that was like a hard time for me, and I know for a lot of other people. And I think that we're trying to figure out right now like what we can do to move forward, especially when we can physically mobilize, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of energy to get into the streets once we can actually go out of our houses.
Yeah, a lot of people would just be desperate to get into the streets under any condition or any circumstance.
Yeah.
You can provide them with a good reason to do it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I was obviously devastated when Bernie suspended. It looks like, barring some huge change, that Biden is going to be the nominee, and obviously most organizations that have rated the environmental policies of those two candidates, Bernie laps him a couple times. So, I mean, scale of 1 to 10, how hopeless are you that Biden can be persuaded, influenced, that he might bring on somebody good to deal with this under his administration?
Maybe like a 2 or 3.
Okay,
Not
that's
that
honest.
great. Yeah, yeah.
That's honest.
Yeah, I definitely think that we should put pressure on him and try and get him to have more progressive policies because he has endorsed the Green New Deal, but to get him to like actually carry out what the Green New Deal has and to have, because he currently is looking for 100% renewable energy by 2050, I believe, but like that's too late, and we need to make sure that he's going to do that by 2030. And yeah, we only have 10 years left, and if he's in office, and that's 4 out of 10 years, and that's a huge amount of time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to be too much of a downer. We're already in hard circumstance, so I apologize for making you think about that. And look,
Okay.
I'm still sort of trying to figure out next steps in different areas. One of them being, advocacy on the climate. And so, I don't want to get ahead of anything. I know that you and the organization are still working on it, but if there are people like you who are at home, maybe young people that care a lot about the environment, is there anything that you can think of that they can do during this time to at least push a little bit in the right direction?
Yeah, I would definitely say to definitely learn more about climate justice because climate justice is so broad when you're not broad, but it's so complex. And for me, whenever I think about the climate crisis, I think about how big it is and how intersectional it is, thinking about how it connects with the current pandemic, how it connects to different systems of oppression that are causing other certain communities like Black, Indigenous, and people of color to suffer more than their white counterparts. And I think it'd be really great if more young people learned more about the complexities of that and how daunting this crisis really is. Because I always feel like there's the people that really know a lot about climate justice in the youth movement, and then there are people that don't take the time to like educate themselves about it. And I see a lot of my classmates and my peers only talking about plastic when there's so much that we need to be talking about, and really having conversations with your family, your friends about it, getting that conversation to be started, and understanding that like we all are frustrated. We share that same frustration, that energy, and we really can do something about it, but we just really need more people to understand and join us in our movement.
Really fast. Other than Bernie Sanders, is there an elected official that, based on the way that they both talk about and try to legislate around climate, that reassures you that they understand that the interconnected nature, that they are well educated on all facets of this?
Yeah, I would definitely say like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Representative Ilhan Omar, definitely like most of the freshman caucus is really great, and a lot of the progressive elected officials that are in office understand. But at the same time, tackling this issue, we need to tackle it through electoral politics, but we also need to tackle it outside of electoral politics and make sure that we're creating cultural change and getting that societal change within people.
Well, and hopefully during this time, organizations like yours can provide people a way to do that digitally. They can't go outside, but that doesn't mean that they can't be improving themselves and working to improve the world as well. So I want to thank you for taking time out to join us. We really do appreciate it, and also the work that you and 0 Hour do around this.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.